Most men spend their entire lives never truly understanding what a woman deeply craves, not just attention, not even mere attraction, but something more primal, something rarely spoken aloud, yet desperately longed for. Most women won't tell you, not because they don't want you to know, but because they're waiting for you to discover it yourself, and when you finally do, you stop chasing, you stop pretending, you begin becoming the man she silently longs for. So let me ask you something few ever dare to question. What if everything you've been told about love was wrong? What if love doesn't show up just because you look sharp enough? What if it doesn't bloom because you waited patiently or prayed long enough? What if love doesn't come to the man who sits and waits, but only to the one who prepares? See, the relationship you want, the love you crave, it isn't found by luck. It isn't delivered by chance, it's forged by character, by intention, and it all begins with the mastering of one art, one discipline so rare, so overlooked, that most men spend their lives without ever learning it. And then they wonder, why am I still alone? Why do so many good men keep getting overlooked, ignored, or worse, tolerated? Maybe it's not about luck at all. Maybe it's not that the right woman hasn't arrived. Maybe it's that we haven't yet become the kind of man a woman's soul can recognize and trust. Picture this, a man in his 30s, maybe his 40s, watching his friends marry, watching relationships bloom and fade all around him, whispering late at night, "Why not me?" He prays, he hopes, he holds it together, until one day the silence becomes unbearable and bitterness begins to whisper lies in his ear. Maybe love just wasn't meant for you. But deep down, he knows the truth. The problem isn't the world, it isn't women, it isn't timing, it's him, not because he's broken, but because he's unfinished. He thought waiting was noble, but real waiting. It isn't passive, it isn't sitting around hoping the universe notices your loneliness. Real waiting is preparation in motion. It's the slow, grueling work of becoming. You refine, you rebuild, you confront the chaos inside. And this is where most men fall, right here in the silence between who they are and who they're called to become. But it's also where unforgettable men are born, right here, where they choose discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, order over chaos, because the truth, you're not waiting for love. Love is waiting for you, watching, wondering, will you rise, will you lead yourself before trying to lead her? Because the art women long for isn't seduction. It's not smooth words or loud confidence. It's emotional mastery. It's spiritual leadership. And here's the twist. Mastering this art, it's not optional. If you want to be unforgettable, it's the price of admission. Ask yourself, are you rising? Or are you still waiting for something you haven't yet become strong enough to hold? They told you love is a reward. A blessing given to those who are patient, clean-hearted, and kind, that if you behave well enough, wait long enough, wish hard enough, one day someone perfect will arrive. But that's a lie, a comforting story for the passive. Because real love isn't a prize you win. It's a responsibility you must be ready to carry, a covenant you must be built to protect. You don't stumble into a powerful relationship. You build yourself into the kind of man who can hold one when it finally shows up. Stop asking, when will love find me? Ask instead, will I be ready when it does? Because love doesn't just ask what you feel, it asks who you are. When it finds you, stop chasing people to fix the wounds you refuse to face. Stop blaming timing or luck or other people's blindness. Start building, start becoming, because here's the truth you can't ignore. You don't attract what you wish for, you attract what you are. If you don't like what keeps showing up in your life, change what's growing inside of you. Because no woman dreams of a man who waits. She dreams of a man who's rising, not tomorrow, now. Let me tell you a secret. A woman doesn't fall for the man who makes the loudest promises. She falls for the one whose life quietly proves he keeps them. She doesn't need a man who always has the right words. She needs a man whose presence says, "You're safe now." That kind of man, he's rare because most men are still looking for the hack, the trick, the tactic to make her want them, but the man she's drawn to, he's not trying to be chosen. He's too focused on becoming unshakable, and this man doesn't lead with neediness, he leads with purpose. He doesn't pursue her to complete him. He invites her into a life that's already full of mission. His peace isn't dependent on her presence. His strength doesn't collapse when she's distant, because he's done the work, the inner work, the invisible work. He's faced his insecurities. He's confronted the anger that used to mask his pain. He's replaced the need to control with the ability to surrender. He's become emotionally fluent, not to manipulate, but to understand. Because here's something no one teaches us as men. Women don't leave men who understand them. They leave men who don't understand themselves. You want to be unforgettable. Learn to sit in silence with your emotions and not flinch. Learn to lead yourself when no one's watching. Learn to ask better questions than, what do women want? Ask instead, what is the burden of a man strong enough to be trusted? Because love is not a soft reward. It's a holy responsibility, and only the man who's been broken and rebuilt can carry it without dropping her. Most men fear that process. They avoid the mirror. They run from solitude, but the man who's becoming. He leans into it. He welcomes the refining fire. He understands that before he can be trusted with her heart, he must be trusted with his own, and that changes everything. He doesn't just look strong. He doesn't just talk about vision, he lives it, and she doesn't have to guess what kind of man he is, because his life echoes with consistency. Here's what most men don't realize: you will always attract a mirror of your current level of self-respect. If you keep meeting women who don't see your worth, maybe it's because you've forgotten it yourself. The moment you raise your standards internally, your world begins to shift externally, but it's not magic. It's maturity. That kind of internal shift rewires how you walk, how you speak, how you show up, and people feel it even if they don't know why. It's not about becoming arrogant, it's about becoming anchored, rooted in who you are and what you won't compromise again. You don't become unforgettable by trying harder to impress. You become unforgettable by becoming undeniable, unmistakable, unmoved by trends and games and temporary attention. That's what makes a man stand out. That's what makes her stay, because here's the truth. She may be beautiful, she may be powerful, she may be admired by everyone, but even she is still waiting for a man who makes her feel safe enough to stop pretending. And that man is forged, not found, in the quiet, in the hard places, in the choices no one applauds, when you stop asking, where is she? And start asking, what kind of man must I become so that when she arrives, I won't ruin it? That's when your life begins to change. That's when you stop chasing what's not for you and start attracting what's already yours. Because now you're ready. You want to be the man love is waiting for, then become the man you said you'd be when no one was watching, because that's where character is born, not in the spotlight, not in the gym selfie or the clever quote, but in the quiet, in the discipline, in the grind no one posts about. And she may not even see you yet, but love isn't late, it's aligning, it's preparing her for the man you're becoming, and you for the woman she is. But here's the question. Will you be ready when she arrives? Will you recognize her when she walks in? Not just by her beauty, but by her peace. Will you know how to protect her softness without breaking your strength? Because she's not looking for another boy in a man's body. She's not looking for a man who plays power games. She's not waiting for someone to match her Instagram story. She's waiting for presence, depth, stillness. A man who has gone to war with his ego and come back with wisdom. A man who has buried his pride and now walks with humility and strength. And you're not behind, you're in preparation. You're becoming, but becoming costs. It'll cost you your laziness. It'll cost you your excuses. It'll cost you the identity you built on pain and survival. But in exchange, you get peace, you get clarity. You get the power to choose rather than chase, because here's the truth most men never hear. You were not created to beg. You were not designed to plead for love or attention. You were made to lead, with gentleness, with confidence, with purpose. So stop waiting for her to validate you. Start becoming the man who doesn't need validation to be valuable. Because when you build yourself into that man, she'll see it, she'll feel it, and she won't question it. You won't have to prove anything. Your life will speak louder than your words ever could, and the right woman, she'll be drawn to that, not because you convinced her, but because she's finally found a man who's done what few do. He's chosen growth over comfort, responsibility over impulse, vision over vanity. She's not looking for perfect. She's looking for real, for someone whose wounds have turned into wisdom, for someone who listens more than he lectures, for someone who doesn't flinch at her depth, because he's already met his own. You see, when a man becomes emotionally responsible, spiritually grounded, and physically disciplined, he doesn't have to chase women. He chooses one, and she stays, not because he trapped her, but because she feels free with him. That's the paradox most men miss. The freer you become within yourself, the safer you make her feel with you. And safety, that's what unlocks her softness. That's what invites her to bloom. You want her devotion, give her your stability. You want her respect, give her your consistency. You want her loyalty. Give her a reason to trust your leadership, not by demanding submission, but by demonstrating worthiness. That's how kings move, and you're not becoming a player, you're becoming a pillar. So keep building. Keep rising, because love is not just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person, and when you do, you'll realize something powerful. You never had to chase love. You just had to meet it with who you were always meant to be. You know what's rare in this world? A man who leads himself. Not one who leads with dominance, but one who leads with direction. One who doesn't follow the crowd, but follows conviction. Because when you become a man of direction, you become magnetic. Not flashy, not manipulative, magnetic, because people, especially women, are drawn to groundedness in a world addicted to chaos. She's not impressed by the man who talks the loudest. She's drawn to the one who moves with quiet certainty. A man who's not lost in fantasy or fear, but one who has made peace with who he is and who he's still becoming. Listen, you don't become the man love is waiting for by hustling harder just to prove yourself. You become him by healing, by sitting with your anger and not running from it, by facing the father wound, the betrayal, the guilt, the regret, and choosing to no longer let it run your life, because when you heal, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop manipulating and start moving in truth. That's when women feel safe. That's when life opens doors you thought were locked, because you stopped being a prisoner of the past and started becoming a steward of the future. And let's be clear, healing isn't weakness, it's warfare. It's the hardest, most courageous thing a man can do, because the world taught you to numb, to hide, to stay busy and call it ambition. But real power, real masculinity, it's presence. It's the strength to be fully here, fully alive, fully honest, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. And that version of you, that's the one love is waiting for. That's the man who can protect and provide, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, because love isn't just about flowers and dates and deep kisses. It's about showing up every day when the feeling fades and the real work begins. It's about being a place of peace, not pressure. It's about loving from overflow, not lack. And overflow only comes from doing the inner work. So today, ask yourself, what part of me needs to die so the real me can live? What lie have I been living in? What version of myself do I need to release? Because love doesn't come to the man who clings to his old identity. Love comes to the man who chooses to grow even when it's lonely, to evolve even when it costs him comfort, to stand tall even when no one claps. That's how you become the man love is waiting for. Not through applause, but through alignment. You ready? Then don't wait. Start becoming. Most men spend their lives chasing love, but the wise man attracts it, not with games, not with gimmicks, but with growth. Because when you become whole, you no longer need someone to complete you. You don't enter relationships to escape your pain. You enter them to expand your purpose. You no longer look for someone to rescue you from your loneliness. You become the kind of man who knows how to sit with his own soul in silence. That's magnetic. That's rare, because let's be honest, most people run from themselves. They bury their heartbreak in hookups, their fear in flexing, their insecurity in ambition, but the man love is waiting for, he's not hiding, he's not performing, he's becoming more honest, more still, more intentional, and that kind of man, he doesn't need to chase, he chooses, and the right woman will feel that in her spirit, not just her emotions, because when you become the man who walks with God, who walks in truth, who walks in peace, you no longer beg for love, you embody it, and listen, you don't need 10 women to feel like a man, you just need to be one woman's safe place, and your own. You don't need to impress the world, you just need to impress the version of you who shows up when no one's watching. That's who you become for, that's who you're accountable to, because when it's all said and done, love isn't about how many hearts you break, it's about how many you heal. Starting with your own, it's not about having the perfect story. It's about owning your scars and still choosing to love deeply, intentionally, fiercely. That's strength, that's masculinity, that's manhood. So stop waiting for someone to choose you. Start becoming the man who chooses himself. Because love is waiting for the man who finally comes home to himself. The world tells you love is something you find, that it's out there on an app in a glance in the perfect moment. But here's the truth most won't say, love isn't found. It's revealed. It appears the moment you become ready to receive it, not with your hands out begging, but with your life aligned, prepared, because real love won't fight through your chaos to find a place. It will simply walk past if there's no space for it to breathe. The kind of love you long for, it's not scared of your wounds, but it will not survive in a place where you deny them. So you must confront yourself. Not in shame, but in truth. Look at the habits that poison your progress. Look at the beliefs that keep you small. Look at the resentment you've been feeding instead of releasing. Because what you don't transform, you will transfer. And that's how good relationships die. Not because love wasn't present, but because your past still had the loudest voice. You must decide, will I carry pain forward or will I finally set it down? You cannot hold love in one hand and bitterness in the other. You must choose, because the man who carries everything eventually drops what matters most. You want a woman who sees your soul, then stop hiding it behind performance. You want a relationship that heals. Then stop demanding someone else fix what you won't even acknowledge. That's the pivot, that's the becoming, where you stop blaming life for what you haven't been brave enough to confront, and you start rising. Not for applause, not for attention, but because your future depends on it. This is how men are made, in the fire of ownership, in the crucible of accountability, not by accident, not by comfort, but by choice. So choose to build your life like the blessing is already on its way. Because it is, but it won't stay where there's no foundation to rest. Love doesn't come to the man who waits for perfect conditions. It comes to the man who dares to build in imperfection, who plants in famine, who prepares in silence because he knows the blessing will arrive, and when it does, he'll be ready. You're not becoming the man love is waiting for just by listening to words like these. You become him by making quiet, unseen decisions when no one is watching, by telling the truth when a lie would be easier, by standing firm when your knees shake, by walking away from comfort when you know it's costing you your calling. That's the man she's waiting for, not the one who has everything figured out, but the one who's not afraid to face what's still broken. That kind of man, rare, and because he's rare, the love he attracts is rare. You won't find it in every room. You won't see it on every feed, because that love doesn't come with noise. It comes with weight, with depth, with stillness, and the moment it meets you, it will recognize you by your peace, not your performance. That's why you have to stop chasing people who don't see you. Stop trying to prove yourself to women who wouldn't know your value if you handed it to them wrapped in gold. You're not becoming for them. You're becoming for the one who's becoming for you. So don't let loneliness drive you back to what nearly destroyed you. You've come too far. Your healing cost too much. Your future needs too much from you to go backwards now. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You're looking for someone who can run beside you, someone who's done their own work, someone who doesn't need saving, but is strong enough to build with you. You don't find her by searching harder. You find her by becoming clearer, more focused, more grounded, and eventually the paths you both chose separately will intersect not by force, not by fate, but by preparation. By intentional growth, by divine timing. Until then, don't rush, don't settle, and don't shrink. Keep becoming the man love is waiting for. You don't prepare for love by memorizing pickup lines or rehearsing charm. You prepare by cultivating the kind of life that can hold someone else's heart without dropping your own. That means developing habits that sharpen, not soften, your integrity. It means doing hard things daily so your emotions don't control you when things get hard relationally. Because here's the truth, love doesn't ask for a perfect man, it asks for a present one who knows how to sit in discomfort without escaping, one who listens before he reacts, who holds space for another's wounds because he's already faced his own. That's spiritual maturity, that's masculine leadership, and that's what the world is starving for. Not louder men, but rooted ones, not showmen, but steady men. Men whose presence calms a storm instead of creating one. Men who can be trusted with fragile things because they've become strong without becoming hard. That's what she's looking for. Not a savior, not a puppet, not a performer, but a pillar. And the world keeps telling you that kind of man is boring. But I'll tell you what's boring: instability, chaos, manipulation, emotional roller coasters disguised as passion. That's not exciting, that's exhausting. And when you become the man love is waiting for, you'll stop tolerating relationships that feel like rescue missions. You'll stop needing validation from people who only love you in pieces, because you'll be whole, and that wholeness, it's magnetic. It doesn't demand attention, it commands respect because you've earned it. Through discipline, through resilience, through the quiet work no one claps for. That's where love finds you, not in fantasy, in reality, in daily decisions to become better than the man you were yesterday. The man who becomes worthy of love doesn't get there by accident. He becomes that man intentionally, by waking up and choosing growth over comfort every single day. He doesn't ask the world to be easier. He asks himself to be stronger. He doesn't pray only for someone to love him. He prays for the wisdom to love well, for the strength to carry what love requires, because he knows that real love doesn't land in your lap like some heavenly coincidence. It recognizes you when you've become a safe place for it to dwell. You see, she's not looking for a man with a perfect past. She's looking for a man with a refined present, a man who's been through hell, but came back wiser, not bitter. A man who knows how to protect her heart without losing his own in the process. That man doesn't chase love like it's oxygen. He walks in alignment with it, because he is already full, and that fullness, it's not just emotional or spiritual. It's practical, it's showing up for yourself in the small things, it's keeping promises to yourself even when no one's watching. It's doing the dishes not because it earns love, but because order matters. It's being faithful with your finances, not just because it looks impressive, but because stability is sacred. It's refusing to numb your pain with distractions, and instead healing it through discipline. Because when love comes, it doesn't just want to know how you feel. It wants to know how you live. Are you steady? Are you grounded? Are you clear? Because when storms come, and they will, it's not your charm that holds love steady. It's your character, and that character is built long before love arrives. So don't wait for the relationship to start preparing. Start now, build now, become now, because the man who waits passively for love often misses it. But the man who prepares for it, he welcomes it, not as a miracle, but as a match to the life he's already living. You see, preparation is the unseen force that attracts what you want. It's the quiet work that no one notices, but it makes all the difference. It's in the daily habits, the choices you make when no one's around. It's in how you treat your body, how you treat your mind, and how you treat the people around you, especially when it's inconvenient. Real strength isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. It's about confronting the things that hurt the most and saying, I won't let this define me. It's about learning how to manage your anger, your fear, your insecurities, so they don't leak into your relationships. It's about being the kind of man who knows that your heart isn't just a vessel for love, but a fortress that keeps it safe. Because if you haven't built yourself up first, you won't be able to hold what love brings. If your foundation is shaky, your house will crumble. And when love arrives, you'll have nothing to offer but empty promises, wishes, and neediness. But when you stand strong, when you know who you are, when you've done the work to clear out your emotional clutter, love will find you in alignment with it. No manipulation, no playing games, just two whole people, both walking in their purpose, both ready to build something real. So ask yourself this: am I the kind of man who can hold what love brings? Am I the kind of man who can provide safety, security, and stability? Not because I need someone else to complete me, but because I am already complete? Am I emotionally mature enough to give love and not just take it? Because the man who isn't prepared for love won't just hurt himself. He'll hurt the one he claims to love too, and that's the truth we all need to face. Love isn't a game, it's a responsibility. It's the responsibility of showing up as your best self every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's the responsibility of building something bigger than yourself, something that doesn't just serve your ego, but serves the relationship you want to build. When you choose love, you're choosing growth, you're choosing vulnerability, and you're choosing commitment. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the sacrifice that love demands? Because it's not easy, it's not comfortable, it's not something you just stumble into. It's something you grow into, and only the men who commit to that growth will ever experience the kind of love they dream of. Because love isn't about finding someone who fits your needs, it's about finding someone who fits your life, and choosing to build with them, not just for the moment, but for the future. So stop waiting for love to come and find you. Go find it by becoming the man who deserves it. Go out there and build yourself, build your life, and build your future. And when the right one comes, when love finally finds you, you won't have to chase it. It will walk beside you, side by side, ready to create something beautiful. So rise, become the man love is waiting for, because that's the man you were always meant to be. You have to remember something crucial in all of this. You cannot give what you do not have. If you want a healthy, loving relationship, you need to be healthy and whole within yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. It's easy to believe that love is about finding someone who will give you everything you need, but true love is about two people coming together with their own full cups, ready to share, not to take. This journey begins with you. It's about learning how to love yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a healthy, self-respecting way. Knowing your worth isn't arrogance, it's self-awareness. It's knowing that you are valuable just as you are, and that anyone who comes into your life has to see that value too. So many people settle for less than they deserve because they haven't yet realized their worth. They settle because they believe that being in a relationship is better than being alone. But loneliness is not the absence of a partner, it's the absence of self-love. When you learn to love yourself, you will never fear being alone again. You'll be at peace with your own company. You'll be whole, not incomplete, and this is key. The man who knows his value doesn't chase after anyone. He attracts. He doesn't try to convince anyone of his worth. His actions speak for themselves. His integrity, his work ethic, his self-respect. Those are the things that people notice. And when you've worked on becoming the best version of yourself, you'll never settle again. You won't settle for toxic relationships, for disrespect, for anything that drains you. You will hold your standards high because you know that your time is precious. And if someone isn't treating you with the respect and love you deserve, you'll walk away. And that's not weakness, that's strength. Knowing your worth and walking away from what doesn't serve you is one of the most powerful things you can do. So, I challenge you to take a hard look at your life and ask yourself, am I living in alignment with who I truly am? Am I showing up as my best self every day? Am I ready for love? And if the answer is no, then do the work. Do the inner work. Get clear on who you are, what you want, and what you deserve. It's not going to be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. And I promise you this, when you do the work, when you become the man who is ready to love, love will find you. It will meet you exactly where you are, because love doesn't come to those who are broken and unprepared. It comes to those who have taken the time to heal and grow, to those who know their worth and won't settle for anything less than what they truly deserve. So, be patient, trust the process, build yourself, and when love finally finds you, it won't be a fleeting thing. It will be something that lasts, something that you've built with your own two hands, something you can be proud of. So go out there and be the man who attracts the love that's waiting for him. The man who will never have to chase, but will always be chased by what he deserves. Because that's the man you were meant to be. As we come to the final part of this journey together, I want you to understand something deeply important. Love is not a destination, it's a journey. This man you are becoming, the man who knows his worth, the man who has healed, the man who no longer settles, is on a path, not an arrival. The path is where the magic happens. It's where you grow, where you learn, where you get stronger. Too many people think love is the end goal, the finish line they're racing toward. They believe that once they find it, everything will fall into place and they'll finally be happy. But that's not how it works. You will never reach a place where everything is perfect. Life is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about learning, growing, and becoming the best version of yourself. And when you focus on the journey, when you prioritize becoming the best man you can be, love will naturally follow. It's like a magnet. It will be attracted to you because it can see the person you've become, the strength, the self-assurance, the depth of character you now embody. But here's the kicker. The love you attract will be a reflection of the love you've cultivated within yourself. If you're not willing to work on yourself, if you're not willing to grow, then the love you attract will reflect that lack of effort. It will be shallow, it will be incomplete, it will not give you the fulfillment you seek. But when you do the work, when you take the time to heal, to grow, to elevate yourself, what you attract will be beautiful. It will be deep. It will be the love that you deserve. You see, love is not something that happens to you. Love is something that happens through you. And when you become the man love is waiting for, you won't just attract the right woman, you'll also attract the right opportunities, the right people, the right energy. The world will open up to you in ways you can't even imagine. This is not a theory. This is the reality of life. The more you invest in yourself, the more you will have to offer the world, and the more you will experience love, not just from others, but from yourself as well. Remember, the man you become in the process is the reward. The love that comes is just the cherry on top. So go forward with confidence. Keep working on yourself. Keep healing. Keep growing. Every day is an opportunity to become a better version of yourself. And one day, when you least expect it, love will find you, not because you were chasing it, but because you were becoming the man you were always meant to be, a man who is worthy of love, a man who can give love, a man who is ready to receive love. This is the path, this is the journey, and it is worth every single step. You see, most men spend their lives in a loop. They try, they fail, and then they try again. But each failure is tinged with an underlying belief that love is something that happens to them. They think it's just about being in the right place at the right time. But love, true love, doesn't work that way. Love is something you create. It is the byproduct of who you become, of the man you build yourself to be. If you're constantly trying to attract love without ever working on the core of who you are, then you're not building the kind of life that will sustain it when it arrives. You're not ready for what you crave. You're still waiting for life to happen to you instead of actively preparing to hold what it will bring. There's no shortcut to becoming the man who attracts the love you desire. It requires sacrifice, growth, and emotional resilience. It requires confronting the darkest parts of yourself, the insecurities, the fears, and the unresolved wounds that keep you from stepping into your true potential. It requires you to understand that love is not about your desire for it. It's about your ability to nurture it once it's there. The question is no longer, why haven't I found love? The question should be, what kind of man will I be when love finds me? Are you the kind of man who can handle the weight of it, the responsibility of it, the challenges it brings? When a woman looks at you, she is not just seeing a face, a smile, or a physique. She's seeing your soul. She's reading the energy that radiates from you. She's picking up on the subtle signals you send out about your inner strength, your emotional maturity, your vision for life. And if you are not whole, if you are not strong in who you are, then you're going to miss the very thing you're desperately chasing. Real love comes to the man who knows how to be alone without being lonely. It comes to the man who has built something of value, who has invested in himself, who is capable of creating a future worth sharing. When you become that man, you won't need to chase love. It will chase you. Not out of desperation, but out of the respect that your strength commands. When you stop looking for someone to fill your gaps and start looking for someone to walk beside you as an equal, you begin to unlock a whole new realm of possibilities. But it begins with you. You must first become the man that can truly love. Because love isn't about possession, it's about sharing. It's about being willing to give of yourself without losing your sense of self. It's about understanding that you are not defined by the love you receive, but by the love you give and the man you've become in the process. So let me ask you, what are you becoming? What is the man in the mirror telling you? Is he someone who deserves love, or someone who is still waiting for life to give him a handout? Are you showing up for yourself? Are you putting in the work every single day to grow into the man your soul is meant to be? Or are you still stuck in the waiting game, hoping someone else will solve your problems? Now, I understand this is a heavy truth, but it's a truth you need to hear. The path to love, the kind of love that lasts, is not easy. It's not quick. It's not about waiting for the perfect woman to find you. It's about becoming the kind of man who can not only find love, but can hold it, protect it, and grow it into something beautiful. That's the challenge. That's the call to action. You don't have to wait for life to hand you the perfect woman. You don't have to wait for the stars to align. You don't have to wait at all. Because the truth is, life is waiting for you to rise. It's waiting for you to choose yourself. Your dreams of love, connection, and companionship are not a matter of chance. They are a matter of preparation. You have the power to create the kind of love you want. But first, you must become the man who is worthy of it. You must stop waiting for love to find you. Start becoming the man love is waiting for. So rise with intention, rise with purpose. Rise with the knowledge that when love arrives, you won't have to chase it. It will meet you where you stand, strong, stable, and ready to build something lasting. The work is hard, it's uncomfortable, but it's the only path worth walking. Become the man who is already complete within himself, so when love comes, it can find a place to thrive. And when it does, you'll know that you didn't just attract love, you earned it, you became it. This concludes the motivational speech, now complete. It provides an in-depth, emotionally compelling call for men to take responsibility for their growth and readiness in relationships.